everyone, welcome back again to your weekly astrological transits. I'm Denise, in case you forgot my name or if you're new. But anyway, so this week, we're going from March 26th to April Fool's Day, April 1st. And we still have that same Pluto squaring the nodes, of course, that will last all the way through December 7th. But this week we also have that grand water trine that came in last week. We get to have that all week again. Yay! And we do have the moon going through the signs of Gemini up through to Leo. And it'll make some aspects that the moon will hook up with Mars and then later on oppose Pluto during the week. So we need to look at that. Anyway, I am really excited to bring this to you this week. It feels good, and I hope it'll be a good week for you. So let me swap out cameras here, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have highlighted the aspects that will be lasting all week long, and of course, Pluto squaring the nodes lasts until December 7th. But all this week we have this amazing, beautiful flow of energy with this grand water trine coming from Mars to Saturn to the south node. And then we also have a sextile. So combining these two aspects here, the trine and the sextile here, we actually have the aspect of the architect. So let me talk about that for a moment first. So with Saturn at 2 degrees Pisces, we are building in our physical lives more of a spiritual foundation, more of a sensitive framework to come from, to build upon. Pisces, of course, it's our sign for all things devoted to the bigger picture, broad expanses with no limitations. Saturn wants to limit, but there really is no limitation in Pisces. So this could be a very, very healing time for people to dissolve any rigid frames of reference that they grew up with. And, like, this is the way things are. Well, that might be the way things were, but how about now? And now, with Saturn sextiling the north node, see how we have 2 degrees here, 4 degrees here, and so Saturn's approaching an exact sextile, and the nodes move backwards, so, every inch backwards or every degree backwards that the north node creates or moves towards comes closer to Saturn. So this is tightening up into an exact aspect here where Saturn in sextile to the north node will bring in opportunities to move forward in the realms that you want to build. And with Taurus being earthly, Saturn being earthly, Venus ruling Taurus, and Venus already in Taurus, breaking through, with Uranus joined with her, I really feel like this is a wonderful, wonderful time for finding your boundaries and firming them up and taking things more one step at a time. Because, Saturn slows things down. The north node in the north node in Taurus, with Uranus and Venus, we're needing to go one step at a time. We're needing to work on our self-worth. We're needing to get in touch with what really matters to us and build upon it. Now I'm using Saturn combined here. And then we have all of this wisdom from the Scorpio South Node past, right? South Node's the past, North Node's the future. And we can move forward. We can come through from the place of transformation of the past and build that paradigm into our future. So it's like I said last week, once you know what you know, you just can't go back. You can try, can always try with all this, especially with all this Aries energy, to go, one step forward, two steps back, but eventually you break through. So the North Node in Taurus is really helping us to enjoy our physical body, enjoy, and especially with the contact here to Pisces, enjoy our intuitive psychic awarenesses, our spidey senses, whatever you want to call it. We're opening up to much more gratitude and building upon that gratitude, because the more grateful we are for what we have in our lives, the more we have more to be grateful for. And then also on the broader scale, being, well, I don't know if it's really broad, because to me it's so fundamental, but being very aware of how we need to take care of Mother Earth. We absolutely need to take care of her. Otherwise, we won't have her anymore. Well, she'll have herself, but we won't be there because she will always win. But so some Taurus traits besides the body and Mother Earth, ruled by Venus, just think all things Venus, we're in that realm of unity consciousness when it comes to the body, unity consciousness when it comes to forgiveness, and especially with this Taurus Scorpio polarity, we're in that realm of persisting, just going until we make it, when we don't give up. Taurus and Scorpio, and especially Cancer, those are signs of not giving up. We don't tend to give up. It's tenacity, it's persistence, it's faithfulness, it's, being loyal to your cause. So some of the things that we can let go of with this Scorpio South Node would be to letting go of drama and crisis and being over concerned with what's going on with other people that don't have any effect in our lives, and letting go of our impatience, letting go of things that are just way too intense that don't need to be that way, and any harsh judgments. But some of the good things with Scorpio is psychology and understanding what what makes people tick. But man, I'll never forget the day I realized that you can't analyze crazy. And it doesn't matter where they're coming from when they're crazy, because it can flip to something else that serves their purpose, and it's all just crazy, right? So once you let go of that, trying to understand other people's motivations, then, you have so much more energy in your own life. So this is an issue with many of people in government right now that we've seen, where the GOP is not trustworthy, and it's probably taking itself down, because Scorpio is all about, on the dark side of Scorpio, is all about just destroying something just to eliminate one part. It's like looking to figure out how something works, but then smashing it, taking it all apart to the point that you can't figure anything out, and then you're left with nothing. Throwing the baby out with the bathwater, basically, right? So another one of the dark sides with Scorpio is like obsessive compulsive disorders, things like that. So we might catch ourselves going, oh, yeah, that doesn't work anymore. Like, what's that about? And maybe getting inside of, if it's something severe, getting inside of any fear that is holding it into place. And the reason I'm going into all of this is because the North Node is so involved with this Saturn, and the South Node is also involved with this Saturn. And Saturn is the life lessons, the lessons in life that we need to get. So in Pisces, it's all about just letting it all go. Letting it go and go towards what you really want to bring into your life. And let the rest just, like a Pisces, like fish, just flounder around. Just let it flounder around, Yeah. Uh, so with with this grand water trine, and again, this is all week long, okay? And might go even a little further. I didn't look into next week yet. I was really looking at, Pluto in Aquarius, and I need to do a separate video on that. But so, especially with this square to the nodes to the end of the year, my goodness. But anyway, back to the grand water trine here. Okay, so now I've spoken quite a bit about Pisces. I'm sure I'll come through with more, so we've spoken about Pisces and Scorpio, but now we need to bring in Cancer. And remember, Mars is our planet of motivation and action and, movement, basically. Just think movement. And bringing in the tendencies for, with the Cancer archetype, we're talking mom, home. We're talking validating, noticing. First of all, you have to notice how you're feeling before you can validate your feelings. And then having a whole lot more humility and nurturing and supporting yourself and others, right? Because it's about family, it's about our roots. Having a lot more empathy, and that's also a Pisces trait, sensitivities and empathy and compassion. And with Scorpio combined, I feel like there's that digging down into what really matters and then nurturing that, right? It's not about the mind and learning everything, that's because there's so much out there. It's just so much out there. And now we're tasked with, how do we feel? How does what's going on in our lives make us feel? How are we feeling, and how are we creating more of whatever we want and whatever we don't want, based on the power of our emotional bodies moving through time and space in our bodies, attracting everything, right? We are literally magnetizing our life experience. Now, not down to every detail, but because that's the thing, is we have to always remember we are here on Earth, on this planet, living our lives on this planet of duality, but we are unitive beings inside. And that's the lesson of Venus, to remember that we are unitive beings, where we come from a realm that is just all love, all bliss. You can't even have a negative thought. But then here we are on Earth, and there's so much negativity. And we're having to let go of that as much as we can, but also calling it out when people are lying, especially when they're trying to hurt other people or hurt you or your family with their judgments, with their, evangelical Taliban ways of thinking, with their I'm thinking of the dark side of Aquarius, like, I know the right way, and it's, you go with us, and then taking that into an extreme form of rebellion against humanity. It's like, what? So, we're challenged here with Pluto squaring the nodes. Which way do we want to go with the North Node? And what have we learned from the past with the South Node? And Pluto, no matter what, is a planet of change and transformation. It's the planet of soul transformation. Soul as in S-O-U-L. It's the journey of the soul. And in Aquarius, it should be opening us up to knowing that it's really, really, really good to be unique. And you have your own original life essence that is guiding you, and you don't need anyone else to tell you how to do that. You don't need a priest or a savior or you don't need someone else. Of course, these can be, if they're working from the light, these are the best role models in the world. Are you kidding me? But when it comes to your personal path, the best person would ask you, well, what feels right for you? Like, what do you want to do? They won't be telling you, oh, you should do this. It's got to be that. Or why don't you, I mean, I'll never forget the very first Vedic astrology reading I had years. And then later on finding out the guy's not on Earth anymore. And he, I won't say his name, but he gave a lot of terrible readings to a lot of people. And I turned out to be one of them. I'm sitting there on my spiritual path coming to an astrologer, and the first thing he says, well, why didn't you become an actress? Just because I have Pluto in the 5th house, right? I'm like, I was like, dude, I have never felt so unseen in my life. Like, what? I mean, look at can you tell me something more, please? Anyway, so it's things like that. But, if you have those experiences, it does help you get in touch with who you really are, because definitely, my the hair went up on the back of my neck, and my mama bear came out and said, well, let me show you who I am, basically. And it didn't take much longer to get up and walk out. So anyway, with Aquarius, there should be, with Pluto and Aquarius, we're opening up to seeing things from a bigger, broader perspective. And we should be, because Aquarius is a sign of friendship, we will probably go through the transformation of what a friend means to us. Like, are they really there for you, or do they talk behind your back? Or are they requiring you to be a certain way in order to, in order to get their approval, like that type of thing? Like, can't we just be ourselves, basically, is the bottom line here. Like, what's wrong with just me the way I am? That type of thing. And with Pluto and Aquarius, we will probably be thinking in that bigger term of, the heart of the heart, in the heart of the heart, heart of hearts. Like, what is better for the whole, what is better for humanity? Because Aquarius in its highest levels has everything to do with humanity. So at least between now and the end of the year, we're going to be opening up to more of that. But often when Pluto first moves into a sign, that at least 0 to 15 degrees brings up all the darkness. I mean, just think back to when Pluto was first in Capricorn, like, that end of 2007 and then in 2008, where we had, the darkness of Wall Street come out and create havoc all over the world, but especially in USA. But that's basically what we've been dealing with, the abuses of corporate. I mean, remember 2010 when Citizens United was installed because of our Supreme Court, right? So SCOTUS, we have problems with SCOTUS. We need an overhaul of that institution. And I'm hoping with Pluto and Aquarius that will happen. I think that it will. I can't imagine how we can go through Pluto and Aquarius and not overhaul that that structure. So, but anyway, and we should be seeing more power to astrology. Aquarius rules astrology. It rules science. It rules all forms of technology, electricity. Our power grids, things like that. Aquarius is really, really unique, good at creating win-win situations, and especially the need for equality and group consciousness. So you could say that together with, well, actually, I wouldn't nail it just to Uranus, ruling Aquarius. I would also include Neptune and Pluto. All the transpersonal planets, I feel, rule the so-called collective. But, even that word collective, it's broad. So we're making our way to more and more broadness. And, Saturn and Neptune, they're already there in Pisces, which includes everything. Pisces is the sign of the all. So if we can be sourced in the all, then we're doing well. But along the way, we do have to create boundaries as to what we want to bring into our own lives. So I think that's probably all I want to say for now about this grand water trine. Definitely Cancer, Mars in Cancer will have us moving in that direction of stronger boundaries, because Cancer wants security most of all. Cancer wants to build that foundation of security. And Cancer is also, where we want people to be honest about what they're feeling, and can also be very accepting of other people's, issues without harsh judgment. But, there's a lot to let go of sometimes with Cancer too, and Cancer does tend to hold on. So we have to let go of needing to control everything and everyone in our lives. We have to let go of the compulsion to take charge with something or take charge of something without really understanding what's going on. Because remember, it's cardinal energy, and Mars it's movement. Cardinal energy is movement. So we've got double movement here. But instead of it being when Mars was in Gemini, Gemini is about, like the movement of the mind and learning and talking and all of that. Now we know enough to know the direction we're wanting to go. And it's connected to the wisdom of the past. And there's, movement-oriented water, and then fixed-oriented water, and then mutable-oriented water, right? So we have movement, stasis, and expansion. Those three forces, right? Expansion, contraction, and stasis, something like that. If you want to try and put those spiritual principles together in there. Yeah. Cancer is also very growth-oriented. So are we growing spiritually, especially from the experiences of the past? And if we're not, we are going to want to. And it might be letting go of certain old cliches, that we have. There could be a transformation of old experience, old even spiritual experiences, like, where you can kind of hold on to a statement someone said that really applied then, and you've held on to it for like 10 years or so, and now it's time to even let go of that so that you can open up to more with Saturn and Pisces. So this is going on all week long. The other important thing for today, besides the moon in Gemini, which just has a little bit of a challenging aspect, we do have, rather than naming all of them in here, I'm just going to say that there is tension building here with all of these semi-squares. And then we have an actual outright square from the Sun to Mars. So this is cardinal. These are both cardinal energies. Aries and Cancer are both cardinal, as is Libra and Capricorn. They bring in the seasons, remember? So maybe Mars and Cancer is kind of like, oh, I wish it were summer, but then, here we are. It's still cold at night where I am. I'm still needing these longer sleeves, and heater's still on at night, or a little bit, not so much at night, but because I like it cold at night. But anyway, so with the Sun square Mars for today, and you can see the Sun's at 5 degrees, Mars is at 0. Mars moves pretty quickly, but the Sun moves faster. So we will be, this will be here through Wednesday. And this is a tension that has already been building. And the tension is that you instinctually want to get somewhere, but now you're thinking more in terms of safety rather than just going. Remember, Aries is that quality, it's that energy of instinctual movement and Mars rules Aries, so we've got that connection there. But now that it's with Cancer, so Aries can be 2 steps forward, and then Cancer can go side to side, like the way, think of the way a ram moves, like head first, butting things like, oh God, what did I just do? That hurt. And then Cancer goes, okay, wait, let's go back. Let's go here. Let's go this way. Or if you're tracking up a hill, the difference between Cancer and Capricorn is like Capricorn wants to get to the top of the hill, but Cancer's like, oh, I can't just go straight up. I have to go side to side to get up, up there, right? So in our lives, this may have to do with we're much, much more motivated with Mars newly into Cancer to be much more secure and safe. We are much more motivated to staying in our own feelings and being okay with that and actually centering in that. And sharing our feelings with others, when you're safe. I mean, I'm not talking about in the workplace just telling everybody how you're feeling all the time. That is totally inappropriate. But noticing how you feel and validating the fact that, oh, hey, I feel that. It can be simple things like you drive through from one town into another and you can feel the energy shift, right? Or even on a freeway overpass and you're coming from one freeway onto another and you feel the energy shift as you're moving into a new area, even though it might still be the same city, right? So the change in energies, the change in, the sensitivities, especially with, you're just going to be so much more sensitive to feeling all those things. So your empathy will increase, your empathic abilities will increase. And this is good. So this tension field between the Sun squaring Mars, for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I just think it's something to notice. And then, once this square is complete, once we're, on the other side of it, once Mars moves ahead far enough out, you'll have a new sense of strength going on. And then with Pluto and the quincunx to Mars, hopefully you're making adjustments to your power based on your feelings. Because we have to be careful with, Aquarian energy that tends to want to go fast and might not be thinking, might not be feeling, might just be thinking but not feeling. Because Aquarian energy can tend to just go out there really quick. And Cancer energy is trying to bring us back to the body. Venus and Taurus is bringing us back to the body. So there's that. That's an important thing there. And then the Sun, so for today, and I think this aspect lasts a couple of days too, the quincunx from Pluto to Mars, but also the Sun is quincunx to the South Node. So again, here's another aspect that is telling me this, reinforcing this other Sun square Mars, in that with the Aries Sun wanting to go, but then there's this connection to the past, and you're like, oh, but wait, maybe this is not the right way to go this time, because there was probably a valuable lesson back here in the past, and now you're wanting to go forward in a way that is much more safe and secure. So let's go ahead and move on to, and this is also, didn't really talk about this. Hold on. The whole reason for this chart was because Mercury conjuncts Chiron exactly at 11:58 a.m., so right before noon Pacific time. And you can see right here, Mercury's at 15 degrees, Chiron's at 15 degrees. They're both 15 degrees, 16 minutes. Mercury conjunct Chiron is another aspect that tells me, so when two planets conjoin, there's an intensification. So this tells me again that there's there's some communication coming from what happened in the past, and you're still trying to heal that. Chiron in Aries is always trying to heal that place inside of you that says, I matter because I'm here. I am unique and individual, and I can be bold and trailblazing, and I can move forward in the way I want to move, right? Because it's very unique. It's your own personal life force flowing through you. Remember, it's ruled by Mars. And then because Mercury and Chiron together, there's that communication. And so maybe there's a very real possibility that you're feeling a little bit of abandonment issues come up that you're trying to work with. And you're also doing your best to not be as impulsive as you were in the past. Like, let's say in the past you had this impulsive compulsion type of quality to beat yourself up or beat someone else up. Maybe that's not going to be happening anymore, because there's some information coming through, and it's been building for quite some time, and there's no reason to move in that direction anymore, because you've gone through it in the past so much that you see where it's gotten you, right? And that is a real sign of strength when you can connect with or name or deeply understand your faults without beating yourself up, right? And you go, oh, yeah, I'm doing it again. But you don't have to anymore, and you can think of a new way to get through to the new place that you want to go, because to stay stuck in the past and beating yourself up won't get you anywhere. It won't get you anywhere. But we do need to learn from our mistakes. So, okay, let's move forward now. So Monday, so 11:49. I've skipped way forward. 11:49 p.m. Pacific time. Now Mercury is conjunct Jupiter. See how fast Mercury moves? Mercury conjunct Jupiter will bring in that healing. Jupiter will help us go in the right direction. Well, Jupiter will open things up, right? It can get us to explore something that we hadn't thought of in the past, or hadn't, or maybe we thought of it but didn't go there, so now we will, right? But there is some tension building to Saturn. And it might be that there's this newfound energy that you're dealing with. Like especially with the moon conjunct Mars. Oh, you know what? I forgot to talk about that Gemini moon here a little bit. There's no aspects to it in the morning, except for this, about noontime, except for this semi-square to, it's right in between Jupiter and Eris, exactly, because the semi-square is a square and a half of a square. Yeah, so anyway, I'm thinking that there's this new place we want to go, and we're still thinking about it. That's all I'm getting there with that moon in Gemini. There's still a lot of information, but we're not there yet. Now with the moon approaching Mars in that conjunction, and it's involved with the grand water trine, the next couple degrees, and it won't be long at all for the moon to become joined exactly with Mars. But meanwhile, and we also have a kite formation going on here with the tail being connected to the south node. So again, it's all about the past and moving forward. I think by the time midnight rolls around on Monday, I think, when you're going to bed at, Monday night, I'm thinking you already have learned so much about the direction you want to go. And there's some tension field going on, because we do have Neptune right here in this square to the moon. The Mars is, out of that exact square. That's thank goodness that's gone. But there's still Well, it could be some dreamtime guidance. It could be some information that comes in dreamtime. So if you wake up in the middle of the night, make sure you clock those dreams, like write those dreams down in your dream journal. And I always like to put myself in all the people's positions in the dream, which can be crazy sometimes for me because I'll have dreams of tons of people in one night, like being in group type of situations, and you just can't put yourself in all of them. But if it's a dream with just one or two other friends or family members or even someone you don't know, you put yourself in each party's position, and you can get a lot of information that way. So anyway, Mercury conjunct Jupiter will open up your mind. It will open up your courage. It will open up your belief system. There will be some very, very, very real possibilities that you're hooked up with your guides, because Jupiter rules guides, protection, belief systems, all things that is healing. Sometimes there can be loss, but there will be healing through the other side. It's like Mr. Rogers says, always look for the helpers. It's like that. So there's communication going on there. And with the North Node here up at the apex of this kite configuration, it's in this position of taking the opportunities, the benefits of the opportunities. Jupiter is benefits. And then we have the opportunities coming from Saturn, and then also coming from Mars. So, and this configuration will be for a little bit of time here too. And then also this Pluto, with this double quincunx here, this, Pluto itself will have this quincunx to Mars all the way through to Tuesday. But then the moon being involved, that's going to be, just Monday, today, and then Tuesday. So all that means is that adjustment to get into your power should be very motivating, and then there'll be some emotional energy behind it coming in over the next couple of days. But it is all geared to security and building a strong, solid foundation. It's just, think of it in the most simplest terms as like, you go to work and you want to come home to your own sacred space. That's Mars in Cancer. Or maybe it's about working from home, right? Okay, so there are opportunities for that. There are opportunities to go in whatever direction you want to go. And with Taurus as the North Node, that's back to your guide for having strong boundaries, going one step at a time, and connected to your sensibilities that really work. And just like I said before, hanging in there, patience and persistence always win. Let's see, what else? Yeah, with the Neptune squaring the moon, that could have the quality, and this would be all day because it's a building square that comes to peak at night. Monday could be a day of people telling you one thing and it triggers your BS meter. So always, if the actions don't match the words, then there's something to question. And that's okay too, because maybe you could just ask them, hey, you said you'd do that thing, why haven't you yet? And then maybe they have a really, really good reason, but they just forgot to tell you, that kind of thing. So it might not be anything that's of real significance, but when it comes to the news with politics, this could be a blow-up day for news with Mercury conjunct Jupiter. Something brand new could come out, and this could have to do with Alvin Bragg's jury trial that's going on, because turns out they meet Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and there's that. They're not meeting today. I'm doing this reading on the 23rd, which is Thursday, and they're not meeting today because they're now considering something new that is unrelated. But by Monday we might know what that's or what that's about. So the Stormy Daniels case is still there, which is really a case about tax fraud. That's still going on. But that's going to be paused for a little bit while they work on this other case that has more predominance for some reason. We don't know what that is yet. I bet he does. So anyway, that I'm thinking will probably come out Monday, and by Monday night we're like, whoa, this is a lot of news. Do your best to get the rest and sleep that you need, because it's a supercharged Monday when it comes to information. And with all this tension building semi-squares in here, yeah, do your best to get the rest you need. Do everything you can to go to bed early. And, you can always get the news in the morning. Okay, so Tuesday, 6:18, we're back to, early morning. But I wanted to clock when the moon exactly conjuncts with Mars, and it's 6:18 a.m. So it's a early morning day to get going, is what I'm seeing here. And notice we still have that kite formation. And how, we had Saturn trining Mars, which I already, talked about. But now the moon is joined together. The moon and Mars together is a big force of connection that helps you to move in the right direction. Because remember, the moon always connects to something. And what are we connecting to? Well, with Cancer, it's our feelings and our safety, security. And it's also that movement with Mars. We really want something with the planet Mars. And in Cancer, it is security and home. So we might be thinking more in ways of, where do I live that is very safe and secure? Or how do I shore up my security within my home? And you might be thinking of all the ways that you could buy a home rather than rent, so that you have more control, because Cancer definitely does, likes to control its space. And it could involve something with your family. There's that real possibility that there are family considerations going on, especially with Saturn and Pisces being very compassionate and, connecting to that South Node in Scorpio, which is, about self-discipline and change that is change for the good, and letting go of anything that's stagnant, letting go of like possessions, and then this would even be the Taurus-Scorpio polarity, like letting go of things that just they're not of use anymore. You know what I mean? Like if you had an extra couple of cars you're not driving, or an extra car, a couple of cars. But yeah, hey, you know what? I mean, there are lessons with all the things that we have, right? So I'm talking to the Taurus-Scorpio polarity again. The things that we have to take care of. Cancer is caring and nurturing, taking care of. Scorpio wants to eliminate the things that don't need to be taken care of anymore. So there could be, selling of assets and things that are no longer useful in your new life that you want to be much more simple. And also, we can have fun with things. We can enjoy things without having to own them, right? Another one of the hallmarks of Scorpio is, joining forces with others. So this could come through with all types of opportunities. And especially because there's that connection to the South Node. And wait till you see the last chart for the week. So hang in there with me. Okay, let's see. Anything else? We have a double sextile, double amount of opportunity to move forward in the way that we would serve our highest good with this connection between the North Node and the Moon and Mars. And we also have this double square between the Sun and Neptune. So the Sun will put a spotlight on the direction that we want to go, what we really want. And Neptune is there to also hold space for us to connect with our source, which is what really matters, is to always be connected to your source within. And so there's strength that can come through with those two squares. It's a tension field, and there's quite a bit of tension building as well from these other aspects. But let's go ahead and move forward. So I'm thinking Tuesday's a major day of constructive energy. Okay, and then Wednesday, we can see that Venus is really getting close to Uranus. Venus moves pretty quickly too. The moon we have 3 squares to the sun. So the sun square moon, again, that is, remember, the moon wants to connect to something in order to know which way to go. The moon reflects, right? And the moon, I see the moon as being, our ego, like the filter that we see through things. So we want that filter to be clear. So maybe some of us are washing windows if the weather's good enough. But of course, we'll probably get more rain, and that's okay, But with the Sun, Chiron, and Jupiter squaring the moon, that is a lot of energy into. So Chiron can teach us about the right direction to go. In areas it can be about the right direction to go for you individually. And with this stellium here, we have a huge stellium in Aries, but just focusing in on the Sun, Chiron, and Jupiter here, this reminds me of wanting to go, where you want to go, but how do you get there in a way that's really safe? And so you might be having to slow down. Like, just think of, you decided you're going to go on a family picnic, but now you have to stop and make sure that you have everything you want when you get there. And how do you get there in the most safe way? Which is the route you're going to take in order to be the safest. So that's just one example. Let's see, the other aspects are the same. Venus conjunct, moving towards, it's already conjunct, it's only 1 degree right there. Or about 1.5 degrees. But anyway, we're talking Venus-Uranus is, and then there's the sextile over to, this sextile goes Mars to the North Node, that's right, because that's all week. Venus to the moon, yeah, right, and Uranus to the moon, right. I'm thinking Norton or whatever, to the moon. Jackie Gleason, right? Oh my goodness. Anyway, Venus sextiling the moon, again, safety, security are hallmarks of Taurus and Cancer. And Venus is like healthy mom. Just think healthy mama bear energy. And then there's opportunity for lots of family fun or having fun with, these are excellent aspects for massage or any type of body work, any type of work building in your home, any type of renovation in your home because Uranus can definitely be about renovation, innovation, invention. There could be something else, too, about women's reproductive rights, because it's getting really scary, it's down to the point of, in some states, doctors, I was reading an article this morning, was it Joyce Vance's newsletter? Had to do, I'm pretty sure it was, I think it was hers. It had to do with in Idaho, it's getting really scary because OBGYNs are leaving the state because they can't there's no way that they can operate in a safe way to keep themselves from being sued, and not just sued, but thrown in jail. The laws are too strict now. They're coming into hard over this whole abortion issue. And if it happens in Oregon, it happens in Idaho, yeah, it could happen in Oregon. We're right next door, and there's already this huge coalition of or Idaho wanting to take part of Oregon, like the whole half of the eastern, yeah. So there's a lot going on, and we are waking up more and more every day as to just how awful this Dobbs decision and Roe v. Wade being overturned, and I think it's just going to take the GOP down further, but that's an issue, especially with Saturn here in Pisces, thinking long term, and that connection to the South Node, and then the sextile to the North Node. Again, that aspect of the architect is the question of what structure are we building, right? Yeah, and Pluto squaring the nodes, who's in charge? Why would anybody be in charge over a woman's body except for her? These are decisions they're left up to her under the advice of her doctor, and it should be no one else. So I think those things are up today politically on Wednesday, and that further reiterates this triple square coming to the moon, because the moon in Cancer is definitely safety for motherhood, safety for growth. Cancer conceives, right? So how do you safely conceive when your life can be put at risk just for being pregnant? And the doctors' lives could be, or their well-being could be put at risk just for trying to support. Cancer's all about support. Mars in Cancer will bring up those questions. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to Thursday. Here's where we have that aspect that I was talking about earlier. It's exact at 4 p.m. The moon in Leo opposes Pluto. So we have emotional confrontations, feminine confrontations with powerful structures that have been put in place. And we have a T-square coming from the moon to the nodes, while Pluto's sitting there in that T-square to the nodes until December 7th. So this is our first hit with the forces of the feminine coming up. And so there's a spotlight here, right? A reflective point. The sun can be a spotlight, but the moon is the other luminary that helps us see what could come in the future, and it's intuitive, and it wants to respond to something that happened in the past that affects the future. If you want to completely let go of what this means for the future of women and just focus just on yourself, if you can separate yourself like that, this could be a powerful confrontation with someone in your life, and you're wanting to go your own way. Because remember, Leo is all about your own unique self-expression, your own unique creative self-expression, your identity. It often rules the father and children. It has to do with what you can put your confidence and your faith in, and then from there, what courage you will be taking because of that. On the dark side, it's narcissism, psychopathy, sociopathy, because they want all the attention. I mean, this is on the dark side. This is Donald Trump. This could be something that happens to him this day, on Thursday. And especially as the moon moves its way through the sign of Leo, because his, I think he has 21 degrees. Well, it depends on which birth chart you use. I use Alfie Lavoie's rectification chart, which puts his ascendant at 21 degrees Leo. So, so the moon takes about 2 to 2.5 days to move through one sign. So there's that. Yeah. 2.5 days. Yeah. So about 2 days. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, he's not going to have an easy time because the moon will be the public having a glimpse into his life. Okay, I'm going to move on. Well, no, wait, I lied. We have a quincunx from the moon to Saturn. Saturn's the government, Saturn's the man, Saturn's the structures that are in place. And in Pisces, I think the women are going to be rising up about something. And this could have something to do with the E. Jean Carroll case on Trump. And any other rape cases. Like, some old Jane Doe's coming through. It could be that everything comes to hit him in the face in the future. And then I just wanted to, with this chart for Friday, 2 p.m., I wanted to, just do that reminder of this kite configuration that's going on. And that, it's still not exact, but it's building. And at the tail end of that kite, what's flying that kite is the past. And then also, the moon is in a triple trine to the sun. So the moon is reflecting, the moon is reflecting the light of the sun, Chiron, and Jupiter. And we're digesting something. We're trying to figure out what's going on. We are trying to get to the truth so that we know how to respond. And we're also nurturing, in Leo, we're nurturing our creative self-expression that wants to build and move forward and heal and teach. These are really good aspects for teachers. But because the moon is also in a building square, it's an approaching aspect here because the moon's at 11 and Uranus and Venus, notice how Venus has already moved across to the other side of Uranus. So there's shake-ups within the feminine, aspect of life and within, unity consciousness. So, and Taurus rules, people in their personal wealth and power. So there could be a reversal of fortune with Uranus and Taurus for some people. And you might guess who I'm thinking of. But for us personally, with the moon squaring Uranus and Venus, there's a tension field building as the day goes by. But this is 2 p.m., so over the next 24 hours, there's this major tension field building that will come to a peak over the next 24 hours that has to do with women's liberation. I don't know why. Friendship. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I was hearing friendship. Friendships with women that will join together in a much more courageous way and really get something done because of this flow of energy up here to healing. With Chiron and Aries, it's like looking out for the underdog, looking out for the vulnerable. Not that Aries is vulnerable, but it's new. You know what I mean? It's like this would be a mom, a very courageous mom wanting to take care of her baby. Right? And because it's new. It's like that sprout that is so bold it can't stay below the concrete or the asphalt. Have you ever seen that? I've seen that so many times out walking, like grass or even dandelion, a little flower that is coming up from the concrete or from the sidewalk or from the asphalt. That's just the powerful force of life. You can't, well, the only things that are really certain is that life will bring change, right? I mean, Pluto's trying to teach us that. Pluto's all about rebirth and death, rebirth, change. There's no such thing really as death, but we definitely can go through we do often go through some painful changes. And especially when you fight it, right? Yeah. Let's see, what else? Mercury is now moving into this double, well, now we have a double square up to Pluto. So Mercury at 25 degrees Aries is bringing new messages. Mercury's a messenger, bringing in something new, some new discovery as to dirty politicians and dirty corporate greed. That's coming through. Because, Pluto in Aquarius, eventually, when we get through this next 20 years, I mean, thank goodness Pluto is only in Capricorn for 15 years. Remember, Pluto is an elliptical orbit. It's not round. It's not, you know what I mean? It makes its way through the zodiac in sometimes 243 years, other times 248. And they even have to adjust the ephemeris in our astrology programs. Like I have a couple of ephemerises here that were printed and they are no longer accurate, but they won't be off by more than usually 1 degree. But it's Pluto's orbit through the signs is dependent upon the transformation of humanity. And Aquarius is all about humanity. So while they're projecting, Pluto will make it all the way through to Pisces by 2044, I'm not going to say that that's exactly when it's going to happen because, I mean, it's supposed to. It's predicted to move into Pisces to stay on January 19th, 2044, but I don't know if that'll be the day. Because it could be the 18th or it could be the 20th or whatever. But the only thing we can say is what we can see for sure now, and I'm not going to try to predict the future here, other than to say we should see the transformation of humanity. We should be bringing through this sojourn of Pluto in Aquarius. We should be going through on the human level our intellectual pride, our spiritual pride, our religious pride, and all of that needs to be overcome with just living and letting everyone else be. Let them rule their own lives. We don't need to tell anyone else how to live their lives. And it should eventually, speaking more to Aquarius now, Pluto's power, but Aquarius, it should bring more power to the people. But there's going to be lots of fight along the way to get there. It's not going to be easy. We have to work all those bugs out. And this looks like one of those bugs popping its head right here, right? Like there's too much, again, back to that place of we know too much and we can't go back. Right? Yeah. And notice Venus is already on the other side of Uranus, and she's just moving forward. Uranus is still sitting there, though, holding space for that big change that needs to come through. And like I was saying, with the moon moving forward, there's going to be so much courage over this weekend coming through, so much self-expression that wants to bring in freedom and especially freedom over women's reproductive rights, and the power for people to make money the way they want to make money. Hopefully it's legal, but we know all the ways that they're making it in illegal ways, so we will be observing that as well. Okay, so Saturday, 6 a.m., April 1st, happy April Fools. It's not my favorite day. I don't like jokes and pranks. I just think it's ridiculous and rude. But anyway, except knock-knock jokes and maybe prank phone calls might be funny. I don't know. But who answers their phone anymore? You'd have to text me it. Unless I know you, I don't answer my phone. Oh, goodness. Okay, but anyway, yeah, that's a side note. We still have the kite going on. All of these opportunities to build the future that you want. We still have the moon, but it's now in the waning degrees of the connection to Venus and Uranus. So I feel like Saturday is just more of Friday. Mercury has moved over Eris and has picked up much more courage than ever before. Of course, every time Mercury, comes back around, it's going to conjunct with Eris is just going to sit there. She moves slower than Pluto, doubly slower. So, you know what I mean? I was born with Eris at, I think, 9 degrees or 8 degrees or something, and here I'm pushing 70, and it's only moved to 24 degrees. It takes like 550 some years, or 560, I forget how many years to get around the zodiac. I put her there just to hold space for the feminine courage, right? Don't mess with it. Go ahead. You can kill me. I'm still going to come back, with that same amount of whatever or whatever I know. And what, I mean, we're all still going to live on. But you can see that Mercury now so it's moving towards an exact opposition to the South Node. And so there's a confrontation going on there to the past. I really feel like it's because Mercury's going to quickly be into Taurus. We'll have that next week. So we're going to have much more communication and people talking and things on the news. We're going to be learning more about, and maybe even negotiating somehow, because Mercury is excellent for negotiation and transactions, analyzing things. But most of all about our communication. But it figures out the patterns in things too, and it connects with the past. What do people really value about the past that we're still working on? And as Mercury moves to its conjunction to the North Node, we have been thinking about the future. So, yeah. I think I don't really need to go further. It's just the same, but more intense. That has been building all week. There's a culmination with knowing more, and especially knowing where you want to go and who you want to go with, and being much more compassionate and letting, like I said before, just live and let everyone else live. Focus on yourself, focus on your family, focus on your career, focus on your work, focus on your spiritual path, especially, and build that foundation that you want, that is all encompassing for you, of your soul path. And know that your higher self and spirit is there to guide you, guide your soul, guide your body, guide, everything. You just have to, tap in regularly and ask for support, and then boldly, courageously go in the direction you want to go. Even though there might be a tension of disruption going on. And this aspect here, this Venus, Uranus squaring the moon, or the moon squaring those two planets, is really good for helping others, having the courage to help others as well. It's really good for creative self-expression and women joining together. And men joining together, too, to fight for the divine feminine, right? It's like the mama bear that fights for her kids because her kids can't fight for themselves because they're vulnerable. And women are vulnerable. So are men. We're all vulnerable. We have to stick together. If we don't stick together, then, I mean, we're all in this together, right? Just like Joyce Vance signs each one of her usually nightly letters that we're all in this together. Yeah. And with Mars in Cancer, with this semi-square coming off of the moon and both of those planets, or Venus, again, Mars in Cancer can be courageous. The moon in Leo is definitely courageous. Venus in Taurus is like, no, I'm just going to sit here and be. And you guys can come around to my way of thinking or not, basically. So there's that. Oh, okay. Well, I am done for the week, and I welcome your comments. And as the week unfolds for you, let us know how it was. Okay. Take good care, you guys. Bye.